It's fabulous. You built you turned fun into a business. Really cool stuff here. Hitashi, you've done something a little different. And you've not really used digital and social media as much for building your personal brand, but you've used it to build a brand around Madhubani paintings and revive art and actually take it mainstream. So what's that journey been like? Tell us about it.
No.
Can someone just check? Hitashri's mic. Can you say something?
Yeah. Is it better?
Are you audible? Yes, you have to speak up.
Is it better now? Okay, great.
Louder?
Okay, fine. Hello everyone. Your campus is great. Let me congratulate you for being here and being in one of the most beautiful campuses of our country. And to start with, I'm one of you. I was a senior SAP consultant with IBM when I started my journey. I was on my maternity break when I went back to my village, my place, Madhubani. I belong to Madhubani. And what I realized was my art, which I had seen flourishing while I was a child, was kind of dying. It was getting contaminated. Artists were not paid enough, so they started using all unfair means to create that art and sell it cheaply in the market. And at the same time, from the consumer side, I realized when people pay for it, they never got the best out of it. They could never rely on somebody who would give them the most genuine Indian art. So, being from the corporate world, I always loved the corporate culture and way we function. So I thought, why not do something different? Not in a traditional NGO way, doing something out for charity or something, just for the sake of doing it. I thought, if a coffee can be branded, why not an Indian art? So I thought the kind of respect that we get in mind when we talk of companies like Infosys, Tata, Starbucks, Apple, why can't we get the same kind of respect when we talk of a brand which promotes just a traditional Indian art? And that's when I called MITHILAsmita. Even the word that we crowned, in that word came for the matter of fact that it literally means the pride of Mithila is the region where the art originates from. And so I started working on it. But from the first day, I thought it's not going to be the traditional, very, very commercial way where we don't engage more and more artisans. We have to engage rural artisans because the impact has to reach. At the same time, it has to be a pure business because unless it's a business, it cannot sustain. So the sustenance thing has to come. And that's when I felt like this brand should be promoted in a different way. The first thing that I did was I created my Facebook pages for it. I used the app causes.com, which is integrated with Facebook to spread a message about preserving a traditional Indian art. And it was so encouraging that within 6 months of starting this cause on Facebook, I had more than 900 people following this and supporting this mission. And then I thought, of course, we have to get a company registered, not just an NGO. We thought of a hybrid model, maybe a welfare arm, which would kind of bring in social securities for these artisans. But the main thing has to come from that brand, which should be respected for its originality, for its genuineness. And that's how it happened. And I think within a year, I was featured by the Press Trust of India, and even the Press Trust of India went to our Facebook page and they checked our Picasso album and they saw the kind of original Madhubani paintings that we were posting and we were talking about and we were blogging about. And our Facebook pages definitely they checked out. I kind of used LinkedIn very, very religiously to connect with art historians, with professors worldwide, with architects, interior designers to know what is in the market. So I think at that stage, all we had was a limited source of funding, and social media was something that empowered us to create our vision into a reality. And thankfully, after that, it has been a great journey. I was entrepreneurs, Goldman Sachs ISB program, and Mahindra Spark the Rise featured our mission, and a lot of things happened in the journey.
So what we're hearing is social media has allowed you all not just to create visibility, but actually build credibility around yourselves.
Absolutely.
But before we all kind of think it's too easy, I'm sure you had challenges along the way. So Preeti, you were an anonymous blogger when you started. You were not the Preeti Shenoy you are.
Yeah.
So what were some of the challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them over time?
See, when I started the blog, it wasn't like to build a brand or to sell my books. There was nothing of that involved. And I didn't know what I was getting into. And I was putting a lot of my thoughts out there. And I had no idea. This was 6 years back. I said, okay, I'm going to put this stuff. I don't know who's going to read it. I don't know what I'm exposing myself to. Because as a writer, I think one of the greatest challenges is that, I always tell people that writing a book is like standing naked in front of the stage and telling people, to comment whatever they want to comment. It's completely exposing your vulnerabilities. So when I started it, it was anonymous. And then, a lot of people started reading my post and they wanted to know who this PS was. I started blogging under the name of PS, And then I said, okay, fine, it's not such a bad place. And I started getting comments, I started getting a lot of positive feedback. So I said, okay, fine. It's like hiding behind the sofa and, slowly looking out. And I'm becoming braver and coming out. And then one fine day I said, a lot of people said, we want to see what you look like. So that's how I put up the first photograph, and then I went public. And by then I was writing for Times of India and Reader's Digest. And I said, okay, I'm proud of my work now. Here it is. I'm Preeti Shenoy. And that's how it came along. But the challenges, if you ask me, it is one of the biggest challenges, not just for a blogger, but for anyone who's putting content out there. I would say it's the trolls. You have, because in the internet you can hide under the cloak of anonymity and say whatever you want to say. Whereas there are people using their real Twitter handles, and if you look at their tweets, it would be like, I am what I am offline, and it's the same personality when you meet me, it's the same personality. There are a lot of people who are very brave online, but offline, if you meet them, they'll be this, meek little person who doesn't have much to say. They won't be very social, and those I would say are the challenges.
Has it been fun and games for you? Have you had a tough time too?
I completely see what you're talking about. Like for me, my biggest thing was again, I go back to when I just started and I have to put my name behind my work. It was very, very daunting, even though it's your work pretty much, and you kind of just have to stand by it. That was pretty much, and then also starting it and making it a habit. For me, it was about getting it a bit ritualistic in that way, and having something to put up every day and thinking it's decent enough to post. That probably the biggest challenge so far. And probably
I think for any creative person, the biggest challenge is self-doubt.
Absolutely, your own resistance.
Because you always feel that your best work is yet to come.
Yeah, and that's good because then it keeps you challenged all the time to put up new stuff, put up better stuff, and that complete non-satisfaction is not there, so you can
No, which is good because it makes you keep producing stuff.
Absolutely, that's exactly.
Like a lot of people ask me, which is your best work so far? I'm like, it's yet to come. It's my last book. My next book is going to be better.
That's true.
You obviously overcome some challenges because you even have corporate sponsorship that now has come your way. So what were those challenges, and what's this whole corporate sponsorship thing? So you actually have now built like a B2B business out of an interest around Madhubani paintings?
Yes. For me, yes, now it's been much better. But when we started, it was different. And the most important challenge that I had was the Indian artists, especially when it comes to traditional art. They are not the ones, they're not glamorized, There is no glamour in it. Normally you talk of contemporary artists, but you don't talk of a folk artist. So that time it was very important for me to talk about the artists from the folk art who actually received Padma Shri or National Award, or who have a particularly unique style of painting or things like that. And there, once again, social media that it gave me a platform wherein I started talking about those master artists of the folk art industry. So these were, I had to actually educate and make people aware about the most happening of this industry. And the second thing was handicrafts, because it's available most of the time cheap. So people, they don't trust something very genuine. That kind of, the credibility had to be built around that time when we started. But definitely it paid us. all that work, and now, as I said, we are a hybrid model and we have a welfare arm. And through this welfare arm, we do a Life for Art event, which is giving solar lights to these rural artisans, women artisans. And recently we did that on 5th of Feb, and this time we had two corporates, big corporates supporting us, sponsoring our event. And definitely one of them have had a multi-year tie-up with us, so now it's paying us back.
So Preeti, being a social media enthusiast myself, I spotted a campaign around the one you cannot have.
Right.
And it was as good as any brand campaign I've seen in social media, a well integrated campaign. So tell us a little bit about that. How did you go about it? What were the results? Did you drive footfalls into stores? Did you sell books? Tell us about it.
That was a campaign which I worked very hard on, and it was a very conscious effort. So what I wanted to do there was give people a kind of sneak peek into the book, make them excited about the book. So someone who has not read my work, they want to know what my book is about. So we had these visuals posted which went viral. We had contests around those visuals. And the success of it was phenomenal. It went viral, and before, the pre-orders of this book was more than 25,000 copies just on pre-orders. The book sold 25,000 copies before the book came into the market. Before just pre-orders. So, yeah. And if you go on to my blog, I wish I had the visual, I will show you. We had said that people who order before a certain date, are given signed copies. So in a span of 24 hours, I signed 3,000 books. There were books piled up in my drawing room.
I saw that picture on Twitter.
So it was crazy. So I never expected to be that successful, but having given my word that a person who had pre-ordered before a certain date would get a signed copy, I wanted to ensure that was done. So I was signing throughout the night. It was one of the craziest things I've ever done in my life. So that is the power of social media. See, what happens in social media is your minds meet before your physical selves are met. And there was, the other day I was at a restaurant with my lady from the US, whom I was meeting after 7 years. And a reader came, she recognized me, and I don't know who she is, she hugged me. She said, I'm completely moved by your words, your books are amazing. So that is the power of social media. She's never met me, she's never seen me, she recognized me. She's, my words connected with her. So social media, the reach and what you can do with it is just, I feel, it is unlimited. That's me, my
E-com store?
Yeah.
What next with social media in business?
Well, because this went so well, I hope to interact more and get some more probably products or anything for that matter with the help from everyone. So it's kind of a collaborative work, so to speak, and something perhaps that will help some sort of organization, if I may, to do something big or something that will make a difference. That's hopefully my plan for coming up.
Are you actually listening to what people are saying on social media? Do you tune in? Do you kind of pick up trends? Do you talk to artisans basis what people want? Are you actually pulling on some insights from there to actually make it a more effective business for the artisans and for what you do?
Yes, definitely.
How do you do that?
Yes. Especially we do get comments on Facebook, especially on the page or the official pages of our company, where people write as to what they want, how they would want it, how to make it more trendier and things like that. Yes, execution is a challenge for us since we are working on different level right now, but then we definitely keep those feedback handy, and as and when we can implement them, we do that.
So people might actually think is that you're spending a lot of time, all of you, doing this stuff, and there are people who are day jobs and they're subject matter experts and domain experts. So if we get into this, it's going to be really a demand on our time, and it's going to take a lot, and success is not easy to get. So, Preeti, what advice would you give to someone who has a passion, has an expertise, and wants to use social media to actually build visibility, viability, credibility, perhaps a business out of it?
See, I would say that, to use the social media effectively, don't look at it as, look at it as investing the time. Say even an hour or an hour and a half a day. See, it's like anything else. If you invest time, you're going to get returns out of it. And you have are so many apps which save you time. For example, I have 5 books, I have 5 Facebook pages for my books. I use these tools and I post simultaneously to all these pages. And what matters is the content, and what matters for me personally is the interaction. Because for me, more than anything, my blog, my Facebook page, what I do is I interact with my readers. And that is something fantastic. And for my emails and everything, I find my readers turning up in large numbers. So I would say for a subject matter expert, I would say if you're writing something, make your content simple. You might be the greatest expert on earth, you might be the most intelligent person on earth, but if you write something which no one is going to understand, where is it going to connect? It is going to be of no use. Make it simple. And if someone has asked a question, no matter how silly it is, respond to that question. Because to that person, that is what matters, that is what